Sometimes when you have conflicts, a negative goes into a positive from that situation. Recently, in an interview with People magazine, 94-year-old Robert Duvall surprised many when he revealed the Hollywood stars he could not work with simply because of their shocking personal hygiene habits. Can you imagine a famous star wearing the same outfit for weeks, making the air on set so suffocating that no one could breathe? Or someone whose heavy drinking and smoking habits caused the director to lose face and miss out on a major role? And another person who neglected hygiene so badly that their skin developed severe infections, forcing them to secretly leave the country for treatment while hiding it from the media. What's remarkable is that these stars weren't unknown names. They were Hollywood legends. So who exactly were these people? Watch until the end of the video to find out the final name. Someone who will absolutely shock you once you realize who they are, along with a hygiene habit more extreme than anything you can imagine. 1. Jack Nicholson, a Hollywood legend with a messy lifestyle and a heavy cloud of smoke. Jack Nicholson is widely known as one of Hollywood's most talented and captivating stars, with unforgettable performances that etched his name into cinema history. However, few know that behind the glamour of a legend, he had some very unusual personal habits, especially when it came to self-care. Robert Duvall, Nicholson's longtime colleague, witnessed his messy lifestyle firsthand during the early years of their careers. Duvall shared that throughout the filming of The Shining in 1976, Nicholson hardly cared about bathing or maintaining his personal hygiene, creating an atmosphere on set that felt suffocating. Every time Nicholson showed up on set, the air instantly filled with the smell of cigarettes, alcohol, and sweat. I admired his talent deeply, but the heavy scent coming from him was genuinely difficult to endure, Duvall recalled. Indeed, Nicholson's body odor wasn't easy for anyone to tolerate, especially when he constantly wore old, wrinkled, and unwashed clothes. This not only affected his coworkers, but also caused problems for stylists and makeup artists. Once before an important scene, Nicholson's stylist had to ask him to shower before stepping onto the set. His body odor was so strong that it interfered with the character's styling. We couldn't breathe in the makeup room we had to keep the windows open non-stop just to dilute the smell, a makeup artist remembered. However, despite the criticism, Nicholson appeared indifferent. In a 1978 interview with Rolling Stone, he openly stated, "I live for the art, and that's all I care about." Personal hygiene. That's a luxury not worth thinking about. Nicholson's disregard for grooming extended into his turbulent personal life as well. His dramatic relationships, especially with Anjelica Huston, often stirred up the press. In her 2015 memoir, Huston revealed that during their time living together, she constantly had to remind Nicholson to bathe. He never washed properly. "I kept reminding him, but in the end, I was the one who had to endure it," she wrote. Jack Nicholson's story paints a completely different image from the polished star the public imagines. Though he remains a Hollywood icon, his messy lifestyle and indifference toward hygiene made him a controversial figure among colleagues. Yet perhaps that's not surprising after all. Even the brightest stars have their flaws, hidden corners, and secrets they never want exposed. And the messy hygiene habits didn't stop with Nicholson. Chapter 2. Al Pacino, the bohemian artist who ignored cleanliness to focus on his craft. It was genuinely hard to breathe when standing near him. The smell felt like a dark cloud surrounding everything, and I had to keep my distance. That was Robert Duvall's blunt description of working with Al Pacino during The Godfather, 1972. If you thought all Hollywood stars were polished, fragrant, and flawless, this story will change your mind instantly. Al Pacino, a monumental actor known for his powerful stare and unforgettable performances, often made crew members step back simply because of the intense body smell surrounding him. In the 1970s, while living in a cramped apartment in New York, Pacino was completely absorbed in his craft, but neglected himself to an unbelievable degree. Unchanged clothes, dried sweat on his skin, greasy hair, and a mix of cigarette smoke and stale coffee deeply embedded into his clothing. Duvall recalled that Pacino frequently arrived on set wearing shirts stained yellow with sweat, repeating them for many days in a row. During the filming of Dog Day Afternoon 1972, Pacino showed up in an outfit heavy with odor, sweating profusely without even wiping himself off, yet continued acting as if nothing was wrong. Duvall admitted that despite having worked with countless big names, even he found it hard to stand near Pacino for too long. Crew members added that whenever Pacino entered a room, the atmosphere thickened instantly with the smell of body odor, cigarettes, and alcohol. Some actors had to keep a full meter of distance from him just to continue their scenes comfortably. What's surprising is that Pacino didn't seem to care at all. In a 1973 Esquire interview, he stated, "I live for the craft, and that's all that matters. Personal hygiene. It's not important. In Hollywood, where appearance and tidiness are highly valued, Pacino became an unusual case. His messiness and signature scent, as some jokingly called it, made colleagues hesitant to work closely with him. But it also shaped a unique image, an artist fully devoted to his roles, unconcerned with social expectations. And when discussing Al Pacino, the brilliant actor yet notorious for his neglected hygiene, we cannot forget that Hollywood, behind all its glamour, hides plenty of strange personal habits, pushed boundaries and truths that are both shocking and irresistibly intriguing. And Pacino wasn't the only one. Number 3. Gene Hackman. The smell of cigarettes and old clothes is a man's signature. Gene Hackman, another Hollywood legend, was also someone who made entire film sets open every window just to deal with the overpowering smell surrounding him. During the filming of The French Connection 1971, Hackman regularly appeared in wrinkled clothes, uncombed hair, and without showering for days, his body constantly radiating the thick scent of cigarettes. It's hard to believe that behind the image of one of Hollywood's greatest actors lay hygiene habits that pushed everyone's limits. Though he captivated audiences with raw, powerful performances, Hackman's colleagues often found him difficult to work with because of his extremely laid-back and careless personal habits. Hackman didn't change his clothes for 3 days straight. The smell of cigarettes, sweat, and unwashed skin made the room so suffocating that we had to keep the windows open the entire time, one crew member recalled. Every time he walked in, the smell hit you in the face. No one could stand it, not the actors, not the crew. Duvall, who was meticulous about his own hygiene, admitted he often had to grit his teeth to endure working near Hackman. That smell clung to you as if it never wanted to leave. No matter how much perfume we sprayed, the cigarette and sweat odor always overpowered it, Duvall said. The situation became so troublesome that Duvall once asked Hackman to shower before coming to set. Hackman simply laughed and ignored it. Hackman's strained relationships with co-workers weren't only due to hygiene, but also his aloof personality. Duvall recalled filming days in New York when Hackman never connected with the rest of the cast. He lived in his own world. After each scene, he returned to his room without changing his clothes. You could smell him before he even stepped into the hallway, Duvall said. A stylist who worked with Hackman later revealed in a 1975 Hollywood Reporter interview that they constantly had to spray perfume just to control the smell coming from his old clothes. We couldn't stand it. We kept the windows open because the room became unbearably stuffy, the stylist explained. Rumors even circulated that Hackman developed skin issues due to his lack of bathing rashes, itching, and irritation. A co-star from The French Connection recalled Hackman arriving on set one day with a face full of blemishes and greasy hair, making things difficult for the makeup team despite his undeniable talent. Still, Hackman insisted hygiene wasn't important. "I don't have time to take care of myself," he once said bluntly. "My work is what matters. Everything else isn't important." Perhaps this disregard for appearance made Hackman a unique figure in a Hollywood obsessed with perfection. And the next person on the list was exactly the same. Number 4. Peter O'Toole. The smell of alcohol and sweat that made film sets unbearable. O'Toole was a genius, but he paid the price for being completely absorbed in his craft. Every time he came to set, his clothes reeked of alcohol, his hair was greasy, and his whole body was drenched in a heavy smell of sweat. No one could stand too close to him for long without feeling suffocated. That was the blunt confession from Robert Duvall, who worked with Peter O'Toole on Lawrence of Arabia 1962. Peter O'Toole, a cinema legend, was not only famous for his outstanding acting talent, but also known behind the scenes for a personal hygiene habit that made the entire crew suffer repeatedly. During the shoot in Egypt under the burning desert sun, O'Toole went weeks without bathing, and his overpowering body odor became a real nightmare for everyone who had to work around him. Even though he could transform into any character with extraordinary intensity, it was his neglect of himself off camera that became an unforgettable part of his colleagues' memories. It wasn't just the smell of alcohol, it was O'Toole's signature scent, a mix of sweat, alcohol, and Bant's unclean body odor that everyone on the crew had to endure. The stylists and makeup artists recalled having to use a giant bottle of cologne just to spray all over O'Toole during shooting days, but even then, the smell could not be completely covered. The smell of alcohol and sweat clung to O'Toole as if it were a part of him. When he stood close, we could barely breathe, one crew member remembered. There were times I had to stand a full meter away from him just so I wouldn't have to smell it. Stories about O'Toole's unhygienic habits didn't stop at the film set. Offset, O'Toole lived in makeshift, cluttered apartments overflowing with books, old clothes, and leftover food. He